Hey, welcome to class. all right. I'm so excited to see y'all today. This is a topic that I know is so, I don't know, it can be so difficult for a lot of people. And it was very difficult for me at one point as well. Trying to make sure I got everything off so that we can be okay. So I know that this is a topic that can be so hard for a lot of us. And it was difficult for me as well at one point in my life. And you're going to see throughout this class why I am able to teach about forgiveness. I'm able to teach about it. I'm able to share my story because I was able to forgive. And so, if you're joining me live, go ahead and drop your name and where you are tuning in from in the chat because I would love, love, love to hear from you. And if you are watching this after the fact, leave a comment, share your story about forgiveness because we would love to see it as well. So, all right. So, what is forgiveness? I always think that that question um, is pretty much a loaded question. And so when I'm in my audiences, I will always ask people if they want to lose about 30, 40, 50 pounds. And most everybody will say yes, because for the most part, all of us got some kind of weight that we want to lose. And I say, okay, if you want to lose weight, I'm going to teach you how to lose weight. And that is forgiveness. And everybody laughs and stuff like that. And I know, why we're laughing because, I mean, although it may be funny, we do know that forgiveness is a very serious thing. And so that's why I wanted to have this class today because I know that some of us are being held back by unforgiveness and we don't know how to move forward. And I had the same situation happen when it came to my mom. So some of you know that I grew up with my mom. She was addicted to, crack cocaine, and I used to sleep night after night on a couch in a crack house. And I mean, for anybody, that's a really, really hard upbringing for the most of us, right? And so it was a very hard situation to come up in. But despite that, right, I love my mom. She was the most important person in my entire life. She was so funny. She was kind. She was fun. I think that I get my personality for fun from her because she was always laughing, always, cracking jokes and just everything like that. So she was just such an amazing person. But of course, she had an addiction, and that caused a lot of conflict between the two of us in our lives. So on one side, she was the person I loved the most. On the other side, she was the person I was always mad at because of her addiction. And I grew up starting to resent her for her addiction, and it was really tough. Um, and so when I went off to college, I was still very much trying to figure out who Kiki Ramsey was. And I was also trying to figure out like what kind of, daughter can I be and what kind of daughter will I be and everything like that. And last night in class, because y'all know I'm a professor at Life University, an assistant professor in the Masters of Positive Psychology coaching program. Shout out to Life University. So one of my students asked me a very pivotal question, and I had to think back, but I remember it as clear as day. When did I know or decide to forgive? Because yes, forgiveness is something that you have to decide to do. It's not something that you wake up and be like, oh, I'm going to forgive. Because, first of all, forgiveness is a release of emotions, a release of pent up emotions that you have that have affected you in a negative way, right? These emotions that you have called, unforgiveness are pent up a lot of times. They affect so many things in your life, and we're going to talk about that. But that's what forgiveness is you releasing these negative emotions that you're having based on what somebody did to you so that you can move forward in your life, right? Because forgiveness will have you in a place where you can't move forward. Okay, so that's what forgiveness really is. So when my student asked me this question, I went back to when I was in undergrad. So y'all know this was years and years ago, like probably at least 18 years ago. Um, I know I look good. So I went back all that time, and I remember I was in my house with a friend, and I was absolutely complaining about my mom. I was complaining so bad about my mom. And uh, it was so, and it's so funny because I always would complain about my mom, and anything that my mom did, I would blame it on her. Like I lived about 300 miles away from my mom, and I could blame her if I tripped up and fell on the sidewalk. I would blame my mama. Because I had gotten used to thinking about how much or how bad my mom ruined my life, how much I should have had like a better shot at life, all these things I would think about. And it would always go back to blaming my mom for something that was going on in my life. Now, I'm a full blown adult at this time as well, right? So I was complaining about my mom to my friend, and he was like, girl. And I'm like, what? He was like, you need to cut it out. You only get one mother. Now, I know that your mom may not be all that you want her to be, and she might not be perfect and all these things, but you only get one mother. So it's either you suck it up and realize that she's the only mother that you're going to have, or you going to complain and blame your mama for the rest of your life, which is also going to hinder you. And I was like, ew. I don't like you. You make me sick, right? But I knew deep down that there was something in him that was telling the truth. You can't deny when people are telling you the truth. We might want to deny it, but at the end of the day, you can't really deny it. So I really had to sit with what he said to me. And I realized it was absolutely the truth. No matter how much I tried, cried, complained, Lucy, which was my mama, was the only mother that I was ever going to get. And besides, I loved her so much. Right. And so I needed to begin to try to figure out a process that was going to allow me to coexist with my mom, um, and not always be so tumultuous, right? Because our relationship was pull and tug, right? And so I started on this journey of forgiveness. And let me just tell you, it's difficult. Okay. Um, Forgiveness is not an easy thing, but it's the thing that ultimately sets us free from all of the pain and everything that we are going through. So it's really one of the most personal acts that we can make that gives us the freedom that we want in our lives, right? And let me just say this about forgiveness, because I always hear this one thing when I'm teaching about forgiveness and talking about forgiveness. People will always ask me, how do you overcome the fact that it was done to you? So my mom was still on drugs, and then I ultimately still had a really rough childhood because of that, right? So it's not about releasing a person from blame. They still did it. Whatever was done to you was still done. So it's not about releasing them from the blame of what they did to you. It's more about releasing yourself from the pain that it causes you. See, here's the thing: when you hold on to unforgiveness, you are holding on to these feelings that ultimately keep you stuck. They keep you in a rut. They keep you from moving forward because you're constantly playing this thing over and over in your head, and you're not able to move ahead. I've coached so many people, mainly women, who we know how to hold on to some stuff, right? Like, I know we do. We know how to hold on to it. Listen, if anybody can hold a grudge, baby, let me just tell you, I know it's you. Right? I could I used to be the kind of person that could get mad at you and not speak to you ever again. Like, ever again. Right? And so, but I didn't want to be that person. So you also have to ask yourself, right, in this process of forgiveness and trying to even figure out if you want to forgive or not, who do you want to be? Right? How do you want to show up? What do you want to be? Because if you want to be a person who knows how to forgive, who knows how to move forward, who has empathy and who understands and wants to be a person that is just, you know, a good person, then you are going to want to let go and you're going to want to forgive, right? You're going to want to be that person. And so I had to want to ultimately be that person. So I had to understand that it was more about not blame, but me letting go and releasing the weight that I was carrying when it came to forgiveness. When I forgave my mom, it didn't suddenly change everything, right? Like, we think like, oh, we forgive and boom, honey, I'm free, right? I wish it worked that way. I wish it worked that way because more people probably would practice forgiveness, but it don't. But I will tell you this, that I did begin to feel lighter. Our relationship became better because um, my mother didn't change, but I ultimately did. Oh, Lord. Mm. Because I can only control me. You can only control you. I got lighter, I got freer, and it was a gift that I ultimately gave myself because I ultimately got happier, right? So there is an emotional and there's a physical cost to holding on to anger and hurt. Like, I'm, t- I'm telling you, we don't think so though. We think that we can go around and just be angry and just be mad and just be hurt because it happened to us. And you can if you want to. But I'm trying to tell you, it's no way to live a life going around angry and hurt. But we all know those people who go around mad, angry, hurt all the time and won't let it go because they're not willing to face what it is that they need to face to overcome it. But there are real signs that you are in a place of unforgiveness. Constant stress. Some of us are constantly stressed out because we are unwilling to let go. Anxiety. Some of us get true anxiety because of the thing that happened to us and our unwillingness to let go. Headaches, right? I used to have a headache all the time because I just was, it just stressed me out so much. The thing stressed me out so much. And the thing about me and what I was going through at the time was it was consistently happening. My mom had an active addiction at the time, and so it was consistently happening. It's not something that happened like right then, but it was consistently happening. So it's like, how do you forgive something that consistently happens? Right? Some people have had things, and I'm not, nothing that is traumatic that has happened to you is no better than any other thing, right? some of us have had traumatic events that happen once, happen twice. Mine's happened consistently, right? I was living in a constant state of trauma. And so, how do you forgive that? So, I would get headaches all the time because I was always constantly dealing with this thing, right? Um, and even sometimes I couldn't sleep because I was thinking about what, these things that were on my mind. Like my thing was, when you are a child of an addict or alcoholic, or I know a lot of y'all understand and know what I'm talking about. When you're a child of an addict, alcoholic, all of that, at the end of the day, you become sometimes an enabler. And I took on the responsibility of taking care of my mom, my sister, just, just all the things. And it was a very stressful time. So when you are willing to unforgive, the headaches, the anxiety, the stress, even the sleepless nights, they may persist. Emotionally, right? Emotionally, it keeps us stuck in resentment, bitterness, and even shame. Ooh, child. Talk about shame, right? I know so many of us have who've gone through, traumatic events where it is just shame. We're just ashamed. We're ashamed that this thing has happened to us, and we don't want people to even know, right? Like we're living in situations where we are even too scared to share our truth because it causes us shame. Mm, wow, y'all, what breeds in the darkness will absolutely haunt you, right? What you feel like you can't share, what you keep a secret, that thing can haunt you. And part of that was me as well. I was being haunted and everything like that. So I want you to understand that the body keeps score. The longer you hold on, the more it impacts your health and your happiness. And when I was carrying unforgiveness, it drained me of my energy, and it absolutely robbed me of my joy. It absolutely robbed me of my joy. And so I don't want that for you. And so I started doing a couple of things um, to let go of this unforgiveness in my life. And I'm going to share with you these things that I started to do. But I'm going to share with you, before I do that, I'm going to share with you when I realized that I had truly, truly overcome and forgiven my mom. So one day, I called my mom and I said, "Hey, what you doing, girl?" And she was like, "Oh, I'm just getting myself on the bed. I'm situating myself on the bed." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And she said to me, Keisha, that's my real name. Um, she says, "I'm so sorry if I ruined your life." And had I not practiced forgiveness, now this has been over the years, I might have said something different to her, but I didn't. I said, "Oh, no, you didn't ruin my life, Mom." I said, "As a matter of fact, you have two beautiful daughters." Of course, one be myself, that adores you. You have a grandson who loves you. And I said, despite all that you have, gone through in your life, you worked your whole entire life. She said, "Wow. Mm, would you say that at my funeral?" I was like, "What?" I was like, "Mom, we're not talking about none of that and everything like that." So we ultimately got off the phone. The next morning, I got up and I went running. And I was running, I'm running, I'm getting my run on. And then my sister, April, calls. And I answer the phone. I got my headphones in. And I'm like, she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm running." She's like, "What? You just stop." And I'm like, "What? I'm running." She's like, "Keisha, stop." So I stopped. And she said two words that changed my life. And those words were, Mom died. Whew. Come to find out, um, she had been dealing with pancreatic cancer. And this was like 3 months from the time we learned about her cancer. And that conversation that we had, which was the day before, was the very last conversation that I ever had with her. I truly believe that if that conversation had went another way, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. Because I was willing to forgive, I truly believe that the love of my life, she was able to gain her wings, knowing that her oldest child held no grudges. And as a matter of fact, loved her so dearly that I would say that she made me the woman that I am. Y'all. Woo! This year has been 16 years from that day. And it's not a day that goes by that I don't think about her, that I don't miss her, that I'm so grateful for her, that I'm so glad that she gave me my story. And I'm so glad that I was brave enough to practice forgiveness. Because I try to teach my students, my coaching clients, that there is no success without failure, right? I am not Dr. Kiki Ramsey, prominent positive psychologist, world's greatest career coach, right? I'm not that person without Lucy having, raised me the way that I was raised. So a lot of us think that our stories are a mistake, but it's not. I know the thing that might have happened to you hurts. And I know, from the person that it might have happened to you, you might not even can believe it. I get it. But it happened. It doesn't make it right, but you have the power to forgive. You have the power to be released and to be let go and to be free. And that is the power that I was able to give myself. And now I can think back on the good times that me and my mom had, and think, and I was just talking about my mom this morning to my uncle and to my aunt, and we were just laughing about how, amazing a person she was despite what was going on with her. So I hope that I've made the case that forgiveness is for you, right? It set me free. I don't think I'd be able to tell her story or tell this story, um, had I not forgiven or had I not said what I said to her on the day before she passed away. I wouldn't be no good. I'm just telling you, I know me. So I'm grateful that she gave me she gained her wings and I gained my wings to be able to um honor her legacy in the way that I do. So let me tell y'all what y'all need to do to forgive if you are anything like myself, right? So the first thing that I need you to do is I need you to start by acknowledging your pain. Listen, and allowing yourself to feel the hurt that you feel. So often we think that being strong is bottling up our pain and just pretending like we all good. Cuz I know us. We like to feel like we are in control. Like bottling up our pain makes us feel like we are in control of our life, our actions, what happens to us, but it's not. It's the opposite. Bottling up your pain is allowing you to spin out of control, especially from the inside out. I know, excuse me, when I was willing to unforgive, I was angry all the time. Y'all, let me just tell you this: your girl got a temper. And I am 1000% better with my temper. I ain't saying I don't get mad, because, baby, there are some things that make me mad. But I would have a temper. And I also used to think that I could tell or say anything I wanted to anybody. You can't do that. I don't care how much you are in the right. You can't do that. You can't tell people and just kirk off at people anytime you want to, but I used to do that, right? And so you have to be able to feel those emotions. And when I say acknowledge that you're hurting, just acknowledge that this thing hurts. You're in pain. It hurt you. I get it. And I had to really sit with myself a lot of years over this time and just really reflect on the pain. But the other thing that allowed me to do is to gain some empathy for the situation. I was just explaining this the other day. I had a keynote, and I was just telling people a lot of times we don't understand about addiction. Addiction is so hard, especially when it comes to a drug addiction or alcohol addiction. The willpower it takes for a person to overcome that type of addiction is crazy. I'll give you an example. Like me, I like sugar. I like cookies. I like brownies. I like coffee with French vanilla cream, agave. I mean, I love, Snicker bars, anything that's chocolate. I love sugar. And for this month, me and my husband have decided that we were going to quit sugar. Child. Has my body been going through some withdrawal? Yes. Oh my goodness. Right? That means I haven't been able to drink my coffee the way I want to drink it. I haven't been able to have, chocolate the way I love it, chocolate chip cookies at night. Oh my God. None of that, right? It's hard. So I challenge any of you to stop eating sugar. Now, have I had a chocolate chip cookie? Yes, I ain't gonna even lie. I'm not gonna even lie. But there's no but. That would be considered a relapse. And for anybody who's addicted to drugs, that will be considered a relapse for them. They gotta quit cold turkey. They can't go back. They can't have a cookie. They can't have a hit because they would relapse. So it allowed me to really get a little space between um, my anger and what I was feeling about how it affected me. And I started thinking about how it affected her, right? I'm not saying that whatever happened to you, you got to be super empathetic to the person who did it to you and stuff like that. This was my mom. And I wanted to be in a better relationship with my mom. It might be somebody in your family as well, or it might be a complete stranger, but it allowed me to get some space and to get some empathy in there, right? Because I acknowledged how I was feeling. So I would sit with myself, and I still do to this very day. I'm a part of the 4 to 5 a.m. club, and I get up and I process my feelings. And it's a space where I'm creative and I can think, I can journal, I can do work, and I'm just with me and the Lord. And so you have to first acknowledge it. And then you have to reframe. The next thing you need to do is you need to reframe forgiveness as an act of self liberation and not the approval of someone else's actions, right? So you got to reframe it like you're not approving what somebody did to you. You are liberating yourself. You're setting yourself free. You got to reframe what it is to you, because a lot of times when we think, oh, if I forgive them, they gonna go scot free. No, they not. They not. And it's not you. It's not your responsibility to place wrath on them. Hopefully, if somebody did something to you, they might get their own justice. But that's not your business. Ooh, I know that's hard. But this is your self liberation. This is you overcoming this pain that it has caused you. And then number three, let me grab my book here. I want you to this act is an act that I want you to continue to process. I want you to write a letter. So I write about it in my book, Get Courageous Now, and you can get this on Amazon. But I want you to write a letter because I write a chapter in here on forgiveness, and and that is, let me see, I don't forgot what chapter it is, but I write a chapter on forgiveness and I tell you how to do this. So I'm going to tell y'all how to do it. You're going to write this letter, and at the top of the letter, you're going to write dear and the person. If you know the person's name, then great. If you don't know the person's name, child, make up something. Um, and then in the body of the letter, I want you to write everything that this person did to you, all their transgressions, all of that. You write everything. So when I was writing my letter, I wrote, "Dear Mom," and my childhood was so hard, and it was hard because of X, Y, Z, and all this kind of stuff. So I wrote all that in the body of the letter. But here's the most important part. At the end of the letter, you have to say, "But despite all of this, I forgive you." Mm, mm, mm. There is so much power in that. And you might write this letter and you don't even want to say that. I get it. I mean, I would write this letter and I'm like, I don't want to say this. I don't want to say it, but I want to say it because I want to be free. And so I wrote it. I never, ever, 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 ever sent my letter to my mom. Never. Because that's not what it's about. See, some of y'all gonna go send this letter wanting closure and you ain't gonna get it. And that's gonna make you even more mad. So I suggest not sending it. I suggest that you write this letter, you get yourself in a space where it's quiet, where it can be therapeutic for you, where a lot of people ain't around or anything like that. And you write this letter, and then you tear the letter up, you burn the letter if you got a fireplace. Um, or you tuck it away in a drawer and then you bring it out later and read it again. Or if you tear it up, you write another one. That's the process. Because what you're doing is you're releasing the emotions that you feel around the transgression that was done to you. So I had to write more than one letter. I had to write several letters. It's not just one, because this took me, several years to go through this process. And it got better and better because I was still in it, right? You remember I was still in it. So for me, this helped me manage the process of continuing to be in it, right? It helped me to have more empathy and to soften because I really started to learn what addiction was and all of that. It helped me tremendously to the day that I had that conversation. I was able to prove that I had softened to the place where I really realized that what I went through with her was a blessing and not a curse. Mm. And that's a reframe that you can have. That's a total reframe that you can have. You see, because taking that step to forgive her gave me the most happiness that I could ever have. I started my first company, Kiki Ramsey International, in honor of my mother. And I still speak. My voice has been heard by millions of people because I'm able to share her story. Because here's the thing that you might not realize when it comes to forgiveness and happiness, it doesn't just heal the hurt that you may be having, it transforms that hurt into wisdom and often into your purpose. Woo! Y'all. Mm, mm, mm. It doesn't just transform or heal the hurt that you're feeling, it transforms that hurt that you're feeling into wisdom and a lot of times into your purpose. This is my purpose. A lot of y'all have heard me say this so many times. My purpose in life is to help women succeed. I've gained so much wisdom by learning how to forgive my mom. And now I can share that story and my story and her story across nations, right? I've been all over the world sharing this story of forgiveness and love and peace and happiness, and it has also helped me build my career, right? Like because I'm able to share this story with so many, I've been able to build my career. I've been able to honor my mother, and it's been a beautiful thing. That's because I chose to forgive. So the question to you is, will you be brave enough to forgive? And let me just say this, this one last thing as we're wrapping up. I not only had to forgive my mother, I also had to forgive me. Ooh, talk about it, Dr. Kiki, honey. There are things that I did in my life that I wasn't proud of. And I talked about that in, my Thrive 25 Women's Conference, how I used to trace success and not purpose and just a whole bunch of things. And so I had to really write myself a letter and go through a process of forgiving myself because we are so hard on ourselves. Some of us are harder on ourselves than anybody will ever be. We don't know how to show ourselves love, grace, and mercy. We don't feel worthy because we are persecuting ourselves for something we did or for not being where you think you're supposed to be in life. I know I'm preaching to somebody. Come on now. I had to forgive myself for all those things because let me just tell you this. You are where you are because you're supposed to be there. And if you were supposed to be somewhere else, guess what? You would be there, but you ain't. And you can make decisions to get yourself to where you're supposed to go, but it's never too late. You ain't too old. You ain't too young. You ain't too black. You ain't too white. You ain't too nothing to get to where you want to go. You just ain't there yet. And that's okay. So from here, hopefully you can forgive yourself, let it go, and get to moving. Because if you don't do nothing from this class that I taught you, then I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. So I pray that this class has blessed you. please do me a favor. If you haven't liked my channel or subscribed, go ahead, like and subscribe, and share this with somebody, because somebody you know needs to hear this message. I know that this message was meant to set so many people free. We can no longer keep this good stuff to ourselves. So share this message with somebody. Make this thing go viral so that everybody learns how to forgive. Because if you forgive, then the world is going to be a better place, because I can tell you this, somebody is waiting on you to step into your purpose. That's the truth. That's the truth. And so I invite you all to join me in the Thrive 25, not Thrive 25, excuse me, the Thrive Society community. I have a whole community of women who are getting motivation. I coach. I have calls every year. I mean, every month, coaching calls. And you're invited to join Thrive Society. If you just go to drkiki.com and click on Thrive Society, you will see how you can hop into the community. And if you need other coaching, reach out, because I'm here for you and I want to see you succeed, because that's my purpose in life. So don't forget to share this. I hope to see you over in Thrive Society. And guess what? You have the ability to create your own happiness. So go out there and spread a little bit of joy. All right, now, talk to y'all next time. Peace.